So one really useful way of looking at embodiment is as a series of skills, a type of intelligence. I really like this model. I think I was the first to come up with it, though I have seen it impersonated by others since. Essentially, though, all I did was take Daniel Goleman's model of emotional intelligence and apply it to embodiment, and then get a bit specific about what that means. All right. Useful because practical, useful because we can learn those concrete skills. I can assess myself, get help with assessment from others, work with clients to, rather than just be more embodied or have to be more embodied, actually look specifically what is meant by that. And you'll also see how different practices build different aspects of this, yeah? So these are basic life skills, I would argue, very broad in some ways. And if you're becoming an embodied facilitator, this is absolutely vital to make sure you have a solid balance of all of them and at least some competence in all of these 4 skills. So how to break it down: awareness and choice, or awareness and leadership, self and other. Starts with self-awareness. There is kind of an order to them, not strictly, but usually. Self-awareness is the beginning. All the quadrants are over 2 time frames. Yeah, so self-awareness first is, are we aware of ourselves in the present moment? Basic body awareness, mindfulness. Over the longer time frame, that's is there a consistent body awareness, and are we aware of our traits as well as our states? So we're aware of our patterns that we might not be able to feel in the moment, but are there, like something like working with the 4 elements model, for example. Yeah. So self-awareness, that's really the foundation, because the next one, self-regulation, self-expression, self-leadership more generally, is impossible to work with unless we're noticing how we are, right? Like if I'm like, I'm not angry, I won't know I need to center, okay? So we need to know the state we're in, and we need to know our patterns so we can work with the state and develop our patterns. That's the self-leadership. That involves a form of freedom. It involves both regulation. Martial artists, for example, may overdo that a bit. And then we have the expressive side. Sometimes conscious dancers overdo that a bit. And those 2 sides are both important. So yes, we're getting ourselves together, but we're also expressing ourselves, able to work with the process, the body, as well as the sort of mind-body, mind-body. We're able to regulate ourselves, but also express ourselves. So super important skills in life. As a coach, my self-regulation is pretty important, right? If I'm a mess, if I've had a stressful call and I'm about to go on another one, I need to do that. Again, this is a massive win for coaching clients. It's just saying, okay, John, you've turned up to the call, you're in a bit of a state, take a breath, put your feet on the ground. I might not even call it centering. Breathe. Okay, what do you want to get from today's session? Super useful just to do that as the most basic form of embodied coaching, really. So centering is included in this category. Super important skill to develop. So that's the self side, okay? It's one side of things: self-awareness, self-regulation. Self-leadership. The other side of things, social awareness. So life's about other people. We could do lots of yoga and become very self-aware, but what about others? We need to be aware of others in terms of empathy, that resonance in our own body, but also in terms of observation. As a coach and embodied trainer, you're learning to observe bodies. Again, the 2 time frames of social awareness, massively important. Yeah, as a trainer, being able to feel the room, being able to feel the group, what's going on, being able to see if people are tired and need a break, or if people are hitting trauma responses. Incredibly useful skill for a trainer and coach, and just a basic life skill, right? Leadership skill, whatever. Last area, so it's the social influence, the social leadership. Can we inspire people? Can we calm people down or wake people up? Yeah, can we turn people on? Can we make people laugh? These are all in the right context, ethical ways of influencing people. We're always influencing, so just whatever you're doing, your body is going to influence the people around you, particularly if you're a leader or a facilitator. So you might as well get smart about how you're doing this. 2 different time frames. Again, there's the influencing people's state, and then as a coach, you might also be helping people grow a different way of being over time, creating a certain culture or giving them a certain practice, for example. So yeah, super useful skill to learn, and it's sort of built on the others. So if you can't really lead unless you're listening, right? And you can't really listen unless you're self-regulated, okay? And you can't really self-regulate unless you're self-aware. So there is kind of a pattern to them. There is kind of a form to them, though people are pretty different as to which ones they're skilled at. So which do you think you are currently skilled at? Self-assessment, difficult, might want to ask some other people too. But there's little indicators like, what percentage of the day am I aware of my body? I'm pretty consistently body aware these days, unless I'm on my email for hours or something like that. And particularly if like right now, I just did a retreat. I've been doing movement practice today, pretty consistently body aware. There may be some skill there. Self-regulation, where did you learn that? Are you good under pressure? Have you done lots of martial arts where you've actually had a chance to build, or extreme sports, for example? I was with some parkour kids the other day, and they're very cool customers. They're used to pressure. Now, there's a contextual element. They might not be socially so good with pressure, but they could fairly quickly, if taught, I would say, transfer that self-regulation skill they've learned through jumping off tall buildings to, say, a social context. I don't know, asking someone out on a date. Yeah. So we have that social, the self-regulatory skill. How good are you at that? The self-expressive side of things. So you're like, hello, my name's John. I'm your coach. Or is there like a dynamism? Are you known for your expressiveness? What about your empathy? What about your social listening? Are you someone that's very tuned into others? That could be typological, like watery people. It could be cultural. Some cultures are better at that than others. I've definitely seen. Japanese, for example, very aware of other people, what's going on, even if they don't show it. Not so good at the self-expression, but good at the social awareness. And it could be something you've built. Maybe you've done a lot of like counseling practice professionally, or a skill like physical listening through certain types of systema or aikido. And then the influencing. Are you known as someone that can make people laugh, that inspires people, that's an influencer, a leader? Are you the one that's with your friends, that's able to, come on, let's go out of the house, let's go out for a drink, or whatever, that's able to influence people? Or are you, someone that's not so good at that set of skills? If you're an EFC, worth really thinking about this in terms of your practice. So we practice the self-awareness in the morning through the body awareness practice, the meditation, the centering we can practice through in different ways, like the cold showers or centering ourselves throughout the day. Hopefully you're practicing something social as well. So there's those micro practices like I call it Starbucks practice, when you buy a coffee and you're being aware of the other person, or more formal like a circling practice, for example. So where are you practicing those skills, and which do you need to develop most? Whew, there's a lot in this really rich model. Next piece there is you can subdivide them. Okay, so any skill can be subdivided into what we usually call the tools or the fundamentals, the 8 or 9 of them. So I'll just pick one for brevity. Self-awareness, right? Am I aware of my posture? Like right now, my knees locked. Am I aware of my movement, like the movement style that I'm doing right now? The speed, for example. I'm aware of my awareness. Is all my awareness here on the camera, rather than a bit more aware of my awareness, aware of awareness? Yeah, intentionality. Am I aware of what I'm visualizing? We're actually subtly visualizing nearly all the time, even if I'm not consciously doing that. So there's awareness of all these different, my breathing would be another one. Am I aware of all these different things? There can be differences in these subsets of the skill. So for example, someone's done a lot of yoga, may be very posturally aware, always aware of their spine and their breathing, but they might not have the distinction, say, a dancer would have around being aware of their movement, because that's just not what they've studied. You generally don't walk around a yoga class, for example. Or a dancer might be very aware of movement, but they're not really aware of standing still or something more subtle. So subdivisions, the same with self-regulation, right? So you can self-regulate using awareness, intention, movement, posture, breathing, etc. So it can be worth subdividing these if you're really wanting to look at these into the actual concrete parts. And remember, that's also operationally, that's also the language we use as embodied facilitators in order to get specific with people. So like, okay, it's not just self-regulate, it's relax your feet, feel your feet on the ground, bend your knees slightly. Specific tools, fundamentals within that. Okay, so I hope that's not too complex. These are the skills we're developing. If you're on EFC, this is one of the central models, I would say, to the whole course. So I hope that is useful.